This man is not some ordinary armed soldier because he belonged to the Aldemir Republic's most terrifying special unit known as the Ghosts, a team so feared that not only enemies, but even other special forces trembled at their name. And even among these ghosts, one name stands above all: George Sai, a literal war machine who crunches battlefield numbers like counting beads on an abacus. A man whose name alone makes people shiver, earning him the title Mr. War, whose battle stories don't just create fans but also breed enemies. And eventually one of those enemies ends his life. But wait, no ordinary enemy could ever kill George because he was betrayed by his own comrades, murdered cold-bloodedly out of jealousy by Captain Beck after George single-handedly wiped out an entire enemy army at lightning speed, stealing the spotlight Beck craved. And as George fell, his mind went blank, unable to believe the team he would die for had erased him, with the last face flashing before his eyes being Sophia before everything went black. Yet what happens after the blackout is even more terrifying, as George opens his eyes to a rotten corpse collapsing onto him, shoving it away only to realize he is buried under a pile of dead bodies, so gruesome it could make anyone vomit. And then the truck carrying all those corpses dumps them into a ravine, where George barely grabs the cliff edge at the last second, literally returning from the brink of death, climbing up to see dozens of bodies tossed down while the men responsible stand casually, joking that the fish in Tokyo Bay will get extra food today. And that's when George realizes this is Japan, the place he was born in during his past life. But none of it makes sense because he died on July 6, 2025, on a Middle East mission. So how did he end up here among corpses in Tokyo Bay? And why does this place look like a broken, filthy slum instead of Japan, until he drinks water from a bamboo plant to steady himself, climbs a tall tree and spots a settlement of 200 to 300 shabby houses, entering the slum and observing everything in disbelief, convinced no part of Japan should be this degraded, until he sees his reflection in a piece of glasses and is shaken to the core because the man staring back is not George. And before he can process it, a hand lands on his shoulder, his instincts instantly activating as he grabs the unarmed, trembling man, lets him go, and hears him ask, "Michio, are you okay?" Making George realize Michio must be his new name and that he may have truly reincarnated, while this stranger clearly thinks of him as a friend. So Mo calms down, apologizes for his rough reaction, helps his friend up, and learns this friend recently endured a brutal beating, memories Mo himself doesn't have, as the friend starts to name the bastard responsible, only for that very embodiment of fear to appear behind them like fate summoned him. A buff gorilla-type thug who believes he's the main character, enraged that his name was spoken without proper honorifics, deciding punishment is due as he clenches his fist and smashes it into the poor boy's face, sending him sliding across the ground, still unsatisfied as he grabs the boy by the hair and lectures him on rules that only benefit himself, threatening death to anyone who objects, until the terrified friend shifts all the blame onto Mo, which the gorilla accepts, making Mo the next target. Shocked that Mo is still alive after the previous beating, yet Mo stands completely indifferent, fear absent from his expressionless eyes, provoking the thug further as he cracks his knuckles and throws a punch that Mo calmly lets pass over his head, instantly reading him as all muscle and no skill, flipping the switch from normal teenager to a Tyson-like fighter, dodging precisely and countering with a punch that shakes the gorilla's ego, then charging again, stepping left, planting his feet, and slamming a brutal shoulder strike into the thug's face, teeth flying, blood spilling, reality finally hitting that he's not the main character. And this was only the trailer. But as Mo turns away, the thug pulls a knife, charging like a suicidal maniac, only for a child to shove Mo aside and nearly take the blade himself, forcing Mo to grab the thug's arms, lock eyes with him in a glare sharper than the knife, declare this now a fight for life, and crush his collarbone before slamming his massive body to the ground, terrifying the child who can only stare in disbelief as the thug screams in agony. Mo preparing a final ballistic punch meant to end him, but his weak new body stops short, leaving the thug unconscious instead of dead, making Mo realize it's time to rebuild this body back to its former peak, as the shocked child, Kyo, demands answers, hearing Mo honestly admit he has amnesia and remembers no one. Even as they walk past the pig-like thug's body, Kyo explaining this place is an industrial waste island in Tokyo Bay, where hope is dead, men sell their souls in mines, women and children survive on trash, security doesn't exist, and progress rots, leading them to a bakery selling barely edible stale bread, the starving child drooling until the shopkeeper insults and chases him away, prompting Mo to slam down stolen cash from the fallen bodies, buy the bread, and follow Kyo home to find his malnourished, sick mother insisting her son eat first, sharing a pure moment that shatters as miners loyal to the beaten pig set their shack on fire. tower, sealing the door from outside in an ambush, forcing Mo to kick it open with a pouch he finds, blasting attackers aside like garbage bags, only to face the pig and his gang laughing like hyenas, surrounding him with fire behind and enemies ahead, leaving only one path: fight, as the pig's arrogant grin promises revenge that has only just begun. Punishment here meant only one thing: a death sentence. And knowing that very well, Mo prepared himself once again to erase the pig's last shred of dignity, because behind him the mother and son were struggling in thick smoke, choking and gasping for air, and Mo shouted while signaling with his hand that the moment they got a chance they should run. And just then the first punching bag rushed forward toward his own death, thinking he had a weapon so victory was guaranteed. But he had no idea that a sack filled with rocks was about to crash down on his head, and the moment it landed he went down for good, because this wasn't random at all. It was the same pouch Mo had grabbed while escaping the shack, turned into a deadly weapon, a makeshift blackjack made of cloth and stones, a technique Mo knew well because if spun correctly it could shatter a skull, looking harmless but becoming a killing tool when the impact landed right. The rest of the goons still didn't understand the level of trouble they were in and charged at Mo mindlessly, but one by one he washed them out with that blackjack skull smasher fully in action, until all of the pig's confidence evaporated into thin air and his men were licking the ground. And now Mo walked calmly toward his final target. The pig was truly scared now, though his ego still clung on, and when Mo swung the sack again, it crushed the pig's arm into useless meat, leaving him with nothing but pain and screams as his dagger, the weapon he once used to terrorize others, fell uselessly to the ground. And now the pig was on his knees, humiliated beyond words, brought to this state by a boy not even half his age, which made the defeat unbearable. Mo raised his weapon for the final blow meant to kill, but the pig suddenly turned into a crying child begging for mercy, and Mo, who wasn't built for mercy, lifted the blackjack again, while the kid desperately shouted about ethics and how killing was wrong, as if Mo didn't already know that. Yet Mo had no interest in that noise. He just kept spinning the sack again and again, gathering force, and the pig ran for his life, while Mo spun faster until the momentum peaked and he released all that inertia in one brutal swing, which narrowly missed but smashed a nearby tree instead, making it clear that if it had hit the pig's legs, there would have been nothing left. And even Mo felt disappointed that the strike missed, while the pig barely escaped, breathing hard in terror. Meanwhile, under moonlight inside a shady warehouse, the fat man was kneeling before his boss, begging for permission to kill Mo, describing him as a monster who wiped out their entire crew. And after much pleading, the boss seemed to grant his wish, making the fat man smile in relief, only for the next second to turn into shock as the boss smashed his face with a punch so hard it filled his mouth with blood, because losing to a mere slave miner was an unforgivable insult, one that could only be cleansed with execution. And the fat man's screams echoed through the warehouse as brass knuckles kept slamming into his face until he was unrecognizable. After which the boss's attack dog joined in, tasting blood with delight, making it clear that the fat man wasn't the last victim and that the real target was still Mo, whose fate was already being decided. The scene then returned to the broken shack where Mo, the boy, and his sick mother spent the night. The boy exhausted and devastated because everything he worked for was destroyed, while the mother didn't want to become a burden, and the boy stayed calm, calling it just a deal with no emotional favors. And they explained everything about the island to Mo, how things worked, where food was stored, who controlled supplies, because Mo needed every small detail, while Kyo felt uneasy about Mo's indifferent attitude, noticing that the warmth in his eyes and soul was gone, unable to understand how losing memories could change someone so deeply, even wondering if there was a glitch in reality itself. And inside, Mo felt those words hit home, because in his past life, he was a soldier wronged by his own teammates, likely on Captain Beck's orders, a betrayal that still ate him alive, making it impossible to stay in this filth any longer, because he had to escape and take revenge on every traitor. The next morning, he started body-strengthening drills, beginning with handstands and moving into vertical push-ups to rebuild his arms and core, knowing survival here meant reclaiming his former strength, when suddenly a familiar face ran toward him, the same boy who betrayed him before, now reminding him about their mining duty, and Mo chose to stay calm and ignore the past betrayal, thinking there might be some opportunity inside the mine. Underground, slave miners stood in two lines under the boss's command, and among them were the same goons Mo had beaten, who started trembling the moment they saw him, while the boss loudly announced that Team G's supervisor was dead, shocking everyone, and then declared a new leader. Number 8, the same coward who betrayed Mo, now sitting in the chair once filled by terror, barely believing it himself. The mine was pure hell, with slaves forced to work from early morning till late night, doing non-stop physical labor in deep tunnels, breaking bodies especially especially of those over 40, where sickness, injury, and exhaustion were routine. And amid all this, Mo quietly prepared his revenge and escape, while slow workers were punished with beatings, though thankfully number 8 was only a side supervisor, a nervous, soft-hearted man named Masa, who kept motivating everyone sincerely, making Mo feel he wasn't all bad. Suddenly, the camp boss started shouting, shoved Masa, and moved forward because he hated soft people, believing this place was only for real men. And just as an innocent worker was about to be beaten, Mo threw his pickaxe near the boss's feet, pretending it slipped, apologizing in a slightly aggressive tone. But that apology only fueled the superior's rage until the big boss himself arrived, silencing everyone, having heard everything and now demanding his subordinate fight him, revealing his name as Kusanagi, a man who terrified the entire mine, now trembling before his master, unable to fight back, forcing Kusanagi to knock him out with a brutal punch instead, while Mo carefully observed his combat skills. Noting how he targeted pressure points efficiently, soon Kusanagi looked for his next fight. His real goal was Mo, and pulled him into a duel, though Mo avoided fighting without reason. But Kusanagi wouldn't back down and attack, and Mo instantly raised his guard as punches rained down, heavy and relentless, making Masa fear Mo would be killed, until Mo analyzed the pattern, found an opening in Kusanagi's wide swings, and landed a clean punch to his face, shocking everyone, only for Kusanagi to catch his fist, impressed and eager to continue until a commanding voice stopped them all, and Director Akichi appeared, forcing all miners to kneel in supreme respect, making Mo realize where true power lay, as Akichi scolded Kusanagi and warned him that further chaos would be reported to Marcus of the Blood Pack, a name that instantly chilled Kusanagi, forcing him to back down, though the fire inside him remained. Akichi mocked Kusanagi cruelly, calling him good only for punching, then berated the kneeling slaves, saying they were machines meant to work until their last breath, not humans. Cutting to lunch break, where Mo ate tasteless food in silence, while others stared at supervisors' luxury lunches, dreaming of tasting good food once, until Masa offered Mo part of his premium meal, which Mo initially refused, disliking debts, until Masa admitted it was his apology for blaming Mo earlier, softening him enough to accept one piece, sharing kindness that briefly lifted spirits before work resumed brutally, proving slaves had no value as one worker collapsed and died, his body kicked aside and ordered thrown out without respect, bringing tears to Masa's eyes and cementing Mo's understanding that this was the lowest place in the world. After the shift, miners were forced to strip naked for inspections, then paid just 1,000 yen for 16 hours of labor, treated like treasure by desperate men, until a salesgirl announced Mining Appreciation Day with discounts, sending slaves into madness buying beer and snacks, revealing the island's psychological trap, false hope and cheap pleasure to keep rebellion dead. And Mo finally understood it all, handing his salary to Masa and asking how much more he needed for the Pariso Pass, a dangerous question that terrified Masa. But Mo was serious, believing someone like him deserved to escape, and the scene revealed that Masa was now only a small step away from his target. With 60,000 yen left to save, Masa's savings were about to double, and Mo quickly calculated that in just 30 days, Masa could actually buy the Pariso Pass. And although Masa felt touched by the gesture, he couldn't understand why someone would do so much for him, while our boy simply told him not to worry, saying he was doing this for himself too. Yet even more important was checking the ocean situation. So Mo asked if there was any nearby boat dock, and Masa waved his hand casually, telling him to look for himself. And when Mo looked down, he realized there was nothing at all, only deadly cliffs surrounding the island. And that was when Mo's sense of adventure kicked in, and he tried to climb down, making Masa panic and stop him, warning that it was illegal. But our hero laughed and asked if any law still existed in this hell. And just as he was climbing, an odd sound echoed, making him freeze and scan the sky, where he spotted a military-grade drone hovering above, the SG Nemesis version 1, so advanced it could make enemies break into sweat. And Mo instantly climbed back up, yelling at Masa to run, and Masa was confused at first until a bullet grazed his cheek, making it painfully clear this wasn't a joke. And both of them ran for their lives as the drone opened fire, with Mo shouting at Masa to stay quiet, because death would reach him faster than his screams. And somehow not a single bullet hit them, as Mo glanced back, analyzing the drone's speed, design, and movement, instantly recognizing it as the SG Nemesis, a machine that once locked onto a target would chase it until execution was complete, no matter how fast you ran, earning it the nickname Mad Pursuer. And Mo realized running endlessly wouldn't work, so he suddenly changed direction, dragging the drone toward a dead end, while Masa followed in fear, forced to trust him, and they sprinted toward the forest at full speed. But the drone's tracking was so sharp, it caught up within seconds, forcing Mo to drag Masa along because after a 16-hour shift, the poor guy could barely run. exhaustion turning into the shadow of death, until an idea flashed in Mo's mind when he spotted a tiny mouse sitting on a branch. Realizing this was their ticket to survival, he grabbed it without hesitation and told Masa to stop the moment his countdown ended. And though Masa protested weakly, Mo ignored him, and the second the countdown ended, Mo apologized under his breath and hurled the mouse toward the drone, instantly causing the machine to switch targets as its sensors locked onto the mouse, unleashing a storm of bullets that killed the innocent creature. And while the sacrifice was tragic, it bought Mo and Masa a narrow escape from death, leaving them collapsed and panting, drenched in sweat but alive, knowing they had tricked death once again, though the drone was still nearby, now in detection mode, scanning quietly, even hovering right in front of Masa's face, waiting for the slightest movement, while Masa stood frozen in terror, unable to move even a millimeter, sweating heavily. Yet luckily the sound was too faint for the drone to detect, and after a few tense seconds it turned away, declared execution complete, and flew off, sparing them both. And as Mo supported Masa, he explained that the drone was made by the Aldemir military, a merciless weapon so brutal it stopped distinguishing between enemy and ally, which was why it had been removed from war zones, leaving Masa stunned and wondering why such banned technology was being used on this island. While Mo's thoughts went deeper, questioning why internationally banned weapons were here at all, and whether the Aldemir military was connected to this place. But with no answers, they returned home, where the child jumped with joy as if Mo had returned from the dead, scolding him lightly for being late until his mother gently reminded him to welcome guests properly. And Mo smiled, asking what was cooking, only to be proudly shown a strange stew, which excited him briefly until one bite nearly shattered his soul. His reaction, like someone being served dog food on a celebrity cooking show. The taste so sour and bland, it made even his worst military rations seem luxurious. Yet the child ate it happily as if tasting heaven, explaining that leftovers were a luxury here, and even the worms inside felt like noodles. And when the child found a tiny piece of meat, he celebrated like he'd won the lottery, while the mother avoided eye contact in shame, making Mo realize this reality was darker than any dystopian fiction. And after eating, the child held out his hand, asking for money because he had cooked, leaving Mo frozen since he'd already given his entire salary to Masa. And when he admitted that all future earnings would go to Masa too, the child nearly collapsed in despair, dropping the precious stew in shock. And Mo quickly calmed him, apologizing before saying it was time to start a plan, instructing him to gather leftovers and follow him, leading them into the forest where Mo dumped the stew on the ground to set a trap using a basket as an anchor, explaining that even wild rats were pure protein. And soon enough, a bird was caught, making dinner possible, before the scene cut to the mine's admin building, where reports showed massive output alongside rising deaths from exhaustion and malnutrition, while Deputy Director Vasima suggested feeding the slaves better, only to be shut down by Akichi, who declared human life meaningless and ordered output at any cost, revealing the financial loop where wages were spent immediately and recycled back into the system. And when Akichi heard that one slave was saving money for the Pariso Pass, his interest ignited, deciding to investigate personally, leading to the next morning where Masa found Mo training shirtless like a warrior preparing for battle, explaining that a weak body could never fulfill a dream, while a misunderstanding with the child revealed the truth about hunger, reminding Masa of his own sister and driving him to apologize sincerely. And later inside the mine, Akichi arrived, impressed by Masa's leadership, offering a bonus, a word no slave had ever heard, which thrilled Masa but made Mo uneasy, sensing danger. Yet Masa followed Akichi anyway, while Kusanagi taunted Mo about his friend's fate. And soon the truth was revealed at Masa's home, where Akichi ordered his men to tear the place apart for hidden money, brutally beating Masa and torturing him when he refused to speak, ripping out his teeth with pliers as he screamed in agony until he began to lose consciousness, all while Akichi threatened worse. And later other workers joked about Masa's absence until Deputy Director Vima returned looking disturbed, dodging Mo's direct question about Masa's whereabouts and warning him not to dig deeper if he valued his life, leaving Mo furious yet restrained as the final moments revealed Masa still alive, broken, bleeding, and barely conscious, his torture far from over. Seeing Masa crawling on the floor, Akichi coldly advised him to stop resisting now, otherwise he would never eat properly for the rest of his life. And with his remaining broken teeth, Masa screamed that he had no money and nothing to say, but that stubborn refusal only fueled the director's rage, and he escalated the torture even further, breaking another tooth, and this time the cruelty crossed a new line as Akichi picked up the broken tooth and forcefully shoved it back into Masa's bleeding gums, pain exploding like nerves tearing apart, while Akichi smiled as if he had shown mercy, because now his real method was revealed, breaking every tooth and then forcing them back one by one, his sixth signature torture of extraction and reinsertion, leaving Masa's mouth completely completely soaked in blood, with no mercy, no pause, only pure cruelty, every scream and every second feeding those demons pleasure, as the director drowned in his savagery and Masa screamed in agony. And after another round, Akichi asked again where the money was, but Masa lay on the ground with shattered bones and scattered teeth, clinging to the only thing keeping him alive: the warm memories of his sister, of freedom, of her innocent smile, of a future that could pull him out of this hell. And he still refused to break, repeating his silent promise that he would never give up, because his little sister Yui had needed surgery. The surgery succeeded, and when she worried about money, he had smiled and lied that he got a new job and would earn plenty for her. And no matter what happened today, he would not shatter, because he couldn't leave her alone. And honestly, in that moment, Masa became my favorite character too, even more than Mo, because what a man he was. While on the other side, the director was shocked, unable to understand how a slave could endure so much torture without surrendering, leaving Akichi with few ideas left until Kusanagi stepped forward, kicking aside his own men and declaring that the old torture methods weren't working and something different was needed. And before Akichi could react, Kusanagi grabbed Masa, praised his spirit, and then smashed a brutal haymaker into his ribs, bones cracking, blood spraying, opening a new world of pain as Masa gasped desperately for air. And Kusanagi smiled, saying the ones who don't talk after getting beaten are the most fun, clearly enjoying this beastly torture, winding up another punch meant to shatter bones. While Masa realized this would hurt even more than the tooth torture, knowing the next blow to his head might be his last moment, and his thoughts returned again to his sister, who only wanted her brother to come home safe. After speaking with the director, Mo arrived at the location to find nothing but one blood-soaked body barely conscious, able only to say his name, and Mo caught him, his military instincts instantly diagnosing the damage: broken ribs, shallow rapid breathing likely from a rib piercing the lung, swollen face, nasal and eye socket fractures, no teeth left, head trauma severe. And as Mo looked at him, his hope slowly began to fade, until Masa spoke in a broken voice, apologizing for not listening and admitting they were after his money, but saying he didn't break, trying to smile like he had won something even while dying. And then he decided to hand over everything to Mo, because only he could do something now. Though Mo hated taking favors and still believed Masa could survive, yet Masa's eyes carried the truth that his time was over. So he explained the money was buried underground near a tree, earned day and night, and asked one last thing: that if Mo ever escaped this island, he must find his sister Yui Hojo and tell her her brother never forgot her until his last breath. A request that stunned Mo as Masa drifted into memories, recalling how Yui once cut her favorite skirt to gift him just because he was working hard, a memory that made Mo's eyes wet as Masa smiled like pain no longer mattered, trusting only his sister's memory and Mo's promise, screaming one last time for Mo to swear he would find her. And then Masa's eyes closed, his breathing stopped, his soul finally freed from hell, while Mo quietly held him, closed his eyes, and in that silent farewell, there was no noise, only a brother's final wish and a friend's unspoken vow. Later, Mo carried his friend's body to bury it properly, unaware he was being watched. And at the tree, Masa mentioned he dug until he found a box containing Masa's life savings, opening it and telling his fallen friend he would protect his dream, tying the cloth Yui had given Masa around his arm and then around his own face like a mask, saluting him one last time. But just as silence settled, Akichi and his filthy men arrived, shocked that Masa endured torture without giving up the money, dying without bowing, which the director saw as a loser's ending, while Mo stared silently, refusing when ordered to hand over the money, prompting Akichi to send his men, 3 attackers rushing at once thinking numbers were their weapon, only to be crushed as Mo's first punch knocked the breath out of one, a combo dropped the second, and a brutal uppercut finished the third, after which Mo spoke for the first time, saying the money was entrusted to him and anyone who touched it would be erased, leading the director to draw a gun, believing bullets solved everything, forcing Mo to stay alert, until Kusanagi stepped in, insisting he handle it himself off out of wounded ego from their first fight. And with the director ordering him to finish it quickly, the fighters squared up, Kusanagi towering over Mo and power, attacking like a predator, while Mo blocked and deflected, reading his professional boxing style, dodging endlessly in ultra instinct mode, and landing a solid liver punch that barely affected Kusanagi, proving the strength gap, until a massive punch sent Mo flying, shifting the tide as Akichi mocked him. Yet Kusanagi grew excited, finally challenged, feinting a punch into a deadly kick that Mo barely blocked with perfect timing, shocking Kusanagi as Mo tackled him to the ground, explaining he read his stance and knew he was a kicker, smashing brutal elbows and preparing a finishing blow before Kusanagi reversed, grabbing Mo's neck and slamming him down, choking him in a ruleless street brawl, while the director watched entertained, convinced no rebel ever survived. Kusanagi's dirty fighting, but Mo refused to lose, landing a precise palm strike to weaken the grip and shifting his angle, revealing his Krav Maga training, then lifting a stone to crush Kusanagi's skull, only to freeze when Kyo's voice echoed in his mind, begging him not to become a murderer, making Mo throw the stone away. But moments later, Kusanagi stood back up laughing, ready for round 2, until Akechi fired from behind. Mo dodged, and the bullet struck Kusanagi in the chest instead, while Mo barely saved himself from falling off the cliff. And as Kusanagi stood in shock, realizing the fight was over, the director felt only frustration at missing his shot at Mo, and no guilt at all for shooting Kusanagi, because to him, he was nothing more than a disposable piece. Akechi mocked Kusanagi as a loser who couldn't even finish off a single slave, and the blonde brute cursed him in rage. But the psycho director replied with a chillingly calm smile that servants who were no longer useful should be put down like dogs. And driven by that twisted logic, Kusanagi launched his final rebellion, actually charging straight at the man holding the gun and aiming at him, while Akechi fired multiple shots at him with disturbing delight. And even Akechi himself was stunned, watching this blonde monster keep running despite being hit, wondering what kind of madness this was, as Kusanagi poured everything into one last Texas smash aimed at the director's face, and Akechi knew that if it landed, his face would never look the same again. So he activated his aimbot and fired a perfectly clean headshot, ending Kusanagi's fury instantly, his fist stopping inches from Akechi's face. Though the terror was so intense, the director literally wet himself, and Kusanagi's lifeless body hit the ground as Akechi burst into hysterical laughter, celebrating the moment by repeatedly kicking the corpse like he was saying good riddance to a mad dog, then barking orders at his remaining soldiers to immediately prepare a report and frame Michio for Kusanagi's death by claiming he stole a gun, before turning back to the man responsible for everything, staring at Michio with cold, calculating eyes, praising him for proving his strength by coming this far, but reminding him that no man ever wins a war alone because weapons and strategy always decide the end. And suddenly Michio raised both hands in surrender, shocking Akechi for a moment, as he thought even someone this strong had bowed before a gun, while Michio said nothing and simply held the surrender pose. Yet Akechi had no intention of sparing him, since both his bullets and time had been wasted, slowly walking closer and mocking him for running toward the cliff edge, when Michio calmly spoke for the first time, saying he had actually made the right choice. And at that instant, a strange sound echoed, making Akechi tense as he asked where it was coming from. And just then, the same Ambot drones from before activated near the cliff, causing Akechi to instantly realize what was about to happen, though his guards understood too late as the mad pursuer drones opened fire and cut them down, one guard collapsing to the ground as Akechi's face went dark, fully realizing his game was over. Terror written clearly across every face because the machine spared no one, no matter who they were, as two guards tried to flee in the opposite direction, only for the drone to switch into pursuit mode, which would not stop until total elimination. And inside Michio's mind, there was only one truth, that the mad pursuer was infamous for killing any moving target without hesitation. And exactly that happened as the fleeing guards were taken down brutally, while Akechi, who moments ago had his gun aimed at Michio's head, was now shaking uncontrollably, frozen because he knew the drones reacted to even the slightest movement, creating a perfect standstill where one move meant death. As the drones scanned the area, and Akechi's mind spiraled in disbelief over how a mere slave had dragged such a weapon here. Yet none of that mattered anymore because his only goal was killing this dangerous slave. But just as he was about to pull the trigger, Michio spoke again, calmly reminding him that pulling it would kill not only Michio, but Akechi himself, which Akechi doubted, believing it was just a bluff since the drone's detection shouldn't be sensitive enough to register a tiny trigger movement, something Michio also knew. But he was buying time, provoking him by asking why his finger was shaking and daring him to test whether it was a bluff, pushing Akechi into a terrifying mix of fear and rage as his hand trembled, yet still couldn't pull the trigger, his pride screaming at him for being called a coward by a slave, while his survival instincts warned him not to risk it, while Michio waited patiently, knowing the drone would hover briefly before returning to its original position, and in that gap he would strike, turning it all into a battle of patience with the drone above, a director ruled by fear and ego below, and a wounded but sharp-minded slave standing firm, until a sudden gust of wind from the forest destabilized the drone slightly, giving Akechi the opening he needed as he fired without hesitation. And this wasn't a story where the protagonist dodges point-blank bullets. The shot tore through Michio's shoulder and instantly caused the drone to lock onto him as a moving target, making him realize time was gone as he sprinted forward under a rain of bullets, then made a desperate choice and leapt off the cliff, unable to dodge midair as another shot tore into his thigh, while Akechi laughed above, convinced it was over. Yet as Michio's body fell with no safety and two wounds bleeding, he played one final card by twisting his body midair and landing feet first into the ocean. And even in the water, the drone kept firing, though by sheer luck, none of the bullets hit him, allowing him to dive deep as the drone assumed the target was eliminated and returned to its original position where Akichi stood holding his gun, careful not to provoke the machine, soon confirming the slave's supposed death at the cliff edge and celebrating his victory like someone enjoying a savage comedy clip. While far below, Michio emerged from the water to find both the director and the drone gone. The immediate danger over, but the real problem beginning as his injured leg bled badly with the bullet still inside, forcing him to tear his cloth and stop the bleeding while prioritizing treatment. Swimming toward the cliff until a terrifying realization struck as a massive presence approached. A great white shark drawn by the blood from his wound, the ocean's supreme predator, fast enough to strike before a blink and powerful enough to crush with over a ton of bite force, now hunting him as prey. And although Michio dodged repeatedly, the shark's tail slammed into him hard enough to steal his breath, the beast repositioning for another strike as a dark shadow rose beneath him. And just when it seemed unavoidable, he made an unexpected move, diving back down and spreading into a rigid T-pose, strangely confusing the shark for a moment as if it sensed awareness instead of panic. But the bleeding leg betrayed him, and the shark charged again, forcing Michio to aim for its sensitive nose where the Lorenzini organs were, punching with everything he had as the jaws opened for the final bite, feeling for a split second that the strategy worked, until the shark rammed him full force and hurled him out of the water, making the brutal truth settle in that even peak human strength meant nothing against an apex aquatic beast, injured and unarmed, like facing a real-life nightmare on the hardest difficulty. Yet even then, Michio refused to give up, gasping for air as the shark circled again, striking from his blind spot with jaws wide open, narrowly missing him but snagging his shirt, dragging him helplessly toward the deep sea. And in that moment, the harsh reality locked into his mind that he had fought with everything he had.